Meredith Gorman here, and are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
UFC 314 back in Miami, Florida. Fun card ahead of us, guys. Can't wait to break these fights down. From a betting standpoint and market standpoint, probably not the easiest card to predict. I'll be looking at the main card, though, like always, guys. Providing free picks, leans, price talk, value, and fade. Systemsportscapping.com or link.me/systemcapping for updated records over there, client comments, resume, client opportunities, subscription opportunities, and more. Masters Week. Hopefully you guys listen to Beat the Books podcast. I released my first golf podcast, audio only, Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I'll be doing it for all majors for you guys. Giving out a couple free picks. Obviously, client card. We have the outright market and more full picks, full client card. However, there are a few picks I gave out, so it's too late now if you didn't listen to it, but just to keep you guys updated, every major I will be doing a podcast. Big client card this week I expect for this card. We're on a 14-2 UFC run right now, guys. Average line plus 135. Last pay-per-view card 5-0. Let's look for another perfect card this week. Fight night recap. Let's do a quick recap here. It was a 1-on-1 card for myself. Hopefully you tailed Murphy by decision. I gave you guys Murphy by decision. Free play and client play plus 100, right? Why pay minus 334 when you can get him at plus 100? The only way he wins a fight is by decision. Unless something freakishly happens, like, Emmett gets cut badly or gets hurt, something along those lines. But Murphy is a point fighter, guys. Decision winner. What do you want, 4 or 5 in a row now by decision? Doesn't have power. Doesn't have a submission game. Just very good defensively on the feet. And able to pick you apart, use a nice jab, connect with some shots. Good kicking game as well. Very similar to like a Leon Edwards type of fighter. Just a little probably better takedown defense than Leon, to be honest. Only way Emmett wins that fight is probably catching him, right? If he caught him with a big shot or decided to just continue to wrestle. I do believe he tried to wrestle a few times, didn't have a ton of success with that. And that's due to, Murphy's improved takedown defense. So you have to give a shout out there. It was a close fight, though, right? That's why I suggested if you play a small unit on Emmett for insurance, it's not the worst idea. But the main bet should have been on Murphy. We did miss out on a 2-5 parlay. Split the parlay there. What did I miss out on? What was the one miss? Burrito, I believe. Yeah, and it was a smaller unit. I was a little worried about Sabatini just controlling him on the ground. That's what happened, right? I was a little worried about that. That's why I only got to a small unit there. Let's get right into it, guys. Let's get right into this card. Got a lot to say, especially about the main event here. Not an easy card to predict, guys. A lot of good matchups, but not an easy card to predict. So let's get right into it. Shop around, have multiple sportsbooks, get the best number out there, guys. Can't stress that enough. Main event, Volkanovski minus 125 versus Lopez plus 100. Great main event here, right? For the vacant title, Topuria said he is done with this division. He cleaned out the division, even though he really didn't. But I think it was more a weight cut issue. He said he did not like cutting weight. He's a big guy. He walks around, right? So here we go. He vacated the title for these two. And he's hopefully trying to get that Islam Makhachev fight, but I don't know if it's going to happen. Islam's kind of been pushing it off. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Not an easy fight to call here, guys. Market agrees with that too, and I agree with the market. I agree Volk should be a slight favorite due to his experience in 5-round fights and championship fights, but there are concerns with Volk as well, right? coming off back-to-back losses for the first time in his career. Right? Against arguably the pound-for-pound best 2 fighters in the world right now. So give him a little credit, give him some slack, cut him some slack here, right? No shame there. What worries me is the back-to-back knockouts. If you guys have been listening to me for a while, I'm always worried about that. When guys get knocked out badly, especially in back-to-back fights, how do they come back? And that's what happened in the Islam fight. Right? He got that head kick KO and then, boom, Topuria got knocked out. That always worries me, especially with an older fighter. Even though Volk is as good as he is, one of the best to ever do it in the UFC. Those knockouts concern me for a lot of fighters. It's a classic situation right here, right? He also started to live that good life when he was a champion. Still living it, of course, but, obviously make a lot of money now. Family life. He travels a lot. He has his cooking show on YouTube. Those things, they do take away from some of the hunger, right? With any fighter, right? Israel, we've seen it time and time. I can go on forever. Sean O'Malley, right? So that does have to be factored in here, right? How will he handle the return after the 2 KOs and the time off, right? Did take some time off. Usually he's very active. He took some time off after the KOs here. How hungry is he still? Not something I can answer for you, but we can look at it, right? We know Diego Lopez, as hungry as he can get. Totally opposite from Volk's lifestyle right now, right? The guy who is in the prime at 30, and on a 5-fight win streak over fighters like Ortega, his best win, Dan Ige, Yusuf, Sabatini, and Tucker. So yeah, resume night and day difference between Diego Lopez and Volk, right? We can't compare the resumes here. You can't compare the resume too much with anybody really with Volk. So he's always going to have that resume advantage in my eyes. Right, there's only one win you can say is, obviously the Ortega win. The rest of the wins just, decent guys, right? Average to decent guys. It's a big step up for Diego. How is he going to pass it? Right, if you look at the difference between resumes, it's just big. And from a stat standpoint, if I look at it too, Volk gets a lot of the check marks. He checks off a lot of boxes here, guys. Volume advantage with over 6 significant strikes per minute. Diego, 4.2. Takedowns, 1.7. Diego, 0.5. I'm very interested to see how much Volk decides to wrestle here, if at all. Because we know Diego's dangerous with his submission game. Off his back. But we know Volk is very difficult to submit. Just ask Brian Ortega how difficult he is to submit, right? So will Volk just decide to, beat him in a volume standpoint on the feet? I think he's the better striker than Diego. Diego has that power, though, that could hurt Volk on the feet. But technical striking, if it goes 5 rounds, Volk would win on the decision scorecard, in my eyes, right? I don't believe Diego's going to have success bringing down Volk. And if he does bring down Volk, Volk should get back up. Right? So from a stat standpoint, Volk wins this fight. If you're looking at just the stat and the statistics here. But then what comes into concern for me, obviously, what I talked about earlier with Volk, right? Now, a couple concerns with Diego, besides the stats. He does fade later in fights, guys. He's lost multiple third rounds in fights. If this goes into 4th and 5th, big advantage for Volk. So that's something to look out for here. If this fight is not finished by Diego, I believe Diego's path would have to be to finish Volk, which is a tall task. Right? I believe if it goes 5 rounds, Volk has done enough on the scorecards. So this could be a very close fight. Does Diego finish Volk? It's hard to see. Hard to see that, guys. Even though, like I mentioned, the 2 KOs are worrisome for me. right? So that's why I mentioned this fight's difficult to handicap because there are a lot of concerns on both sides. You can't be confident one way or the other, right? Even though I do believe Volk has done more in these spots. Obviously, Diego's never been in a 5-round fight or a championship fight. And the stats tell me Volk wins this fight. So I am leaning Volk in this fight. Is it going to make the client card is the big question. If it does, it's not a confident bet. It would be a smaller unit play, right? Just worried about how he bounces back. How much does he want that title again, right? Not too many times when guys lose titles, they come back and win it again, guys. Yeah, so not overly confident in this bet, but Volkanovski could make my client card in some way this weekend. Paddy Pimblett, minus 160 versus Chandler, plus 130. This is a 5-round co-main, guys. Keep that in mind. The UFC's been doing that a lot. 5-round co-mains. This favors Chandler, right? We haven't seen Paddy in a 5-rounder. And that plus 130 on Chandler is very tempting, guys. Very tempting. Resume difference between these two is vast. It's huge. It's wild, right? Chandler is coming off back-to-back losses versus Oliveira and Poirier. Some of the best to ever do it, guys. Right? Paddy's been beating guys like Bobby Green, Old Man Ferguson, and then some other below-average guys in the UFC. It's a huge step up for him. Even though I don't believe Chandler's, in his prime or a top guy in this division, even though he's been hanging around with some of them at times, he's still 1-4 in his last 5 UFC fights, and he's 38 years old, guys. I see what the UFC is doing here. This would be a huge win for Paddy if he can get it in Miami. Chandler's path, stick to his wrestling. Use your wrestling. Paddy can be taken down. 52% takedown defense. I'm not too worried that Paddy's going to submit Chandler off his back. Oliveira couldn't. I don't see, now Poirier did submit him. That was a little concerning. But if Chandler could wrestle, mix in some power shots, right? Paddy's not the greatest striker in the world, even though he has been improving. Chandler has a path to win this fight, especially if he gets us deeper into the fight. We've seen Chandler just win a 5-round, fifth round versus Oliveira. He hurt him. Remember? He chin checked him in the 5th round there and almost got him out of there. So I'm not a guy that bets Chandler. I usually fade him in bigger fights. But when you see plus money here against a guy he could beat, Paddy hasn't shown me anything that I'm too excited about with his wins. Bobby Green, Tony Ferguson, all at the end of their career. Right? It has to be Chandler in the plus money or nothing for me. But a big moment for Paddy, and he has shined in big moments. I do have to give him that. It's just, I believe Chandler could win this fight at plus money. Only way I could look here. Just listen, I'll leave you this. I'll leave you guys with this. Chandler's last 5 opponents, losses, right? 4 out of 5, like I mentioned. Oliveira twice, Gaethje, Poirier. Is Paddy in that from a skill standpoint? No, Paddy's not there. Now, the only concern I have is only wins against Tony Ferguson, right? So, right, we all know that nice front kick finish against Tony Ferguson. That was very nice. So, yeah, concerns with Chandler as well later in his career. But if I had to bet this fight, it would be the plus money if it doesn't make the client card. Yair Rodriguez minus 200 versus Pitbull, plus 170 debut for Pitbull. He called out Yair, and he got it. Tough first fight in the UFC. Coming from Bellator, I think for Rizin too. Lost to just some Japanese guy recently. He's lost 3 fights versus a lot lesser guys in Yair as of late. 2 of his last 3 fights he's lost, and Yair's a much better fighter than those guys he lost to. Yair also lost back-to-back fights, but against, very respectable guys, right? Brian Ortega and Volkanovski. So again, can't compare resumes. Yair's been fighting the best guys in this division for years now. And Yair's still in his prime at 32. Pitbull, end of his career, 37. Right? I believe Yair Rodriguez is a rightful favorite here. I'm not running to the window at minus 200, but I do believe he finds a way. It's probably by decision as well. Pitbull has that one-shot power. We have seen Rodriguez rocked before. He's been finished 3 times. That does concern me a little bit. The way to beat Yair is to wrestle him. Pitbull doesn't do that. 0.5 takedowns per fight. Yair's going to have the volume advantage as well in this fight, right? Pitbull's low volume at just under 3 significant strikes per minute. Right? The way to beat Yair is to mix in some wrestling, grappling. I don't really see Pitbull doing that. I see Pitbull just looking for that big shot, which is what Yair wants, right? He wants to just pick you up apart on the feet. So I think it's a good matchup for Yair. Does Pitbull try to mix in some wrestling? Possibly. We just don't see it a ton, right? He's a little older now. I don't think he's going to wrestle for 3 rounds even again. He's not really a wrestler. He's not known for that. Even though I do believe he can, he just hasn't shown a lot in his fights. So yeah, leaning Yair here. Don't love the price. Most likely this fight goes all 3 rounds though. Bryce Mitchell plus 200 versus Silva minus 250. Most people are excited for this fight as much as any other fight, right? If not more. Right, Silva called him out, got the fight. A lot of people called him out after his comments. We're not going to get into those. But Silva got it, called him out on social media. I think he called him out after his win too. I can't really recall, but yeah, he called him out after his win, and then also on social media. So he got it. Here we are. This will actually be his toughest test yet for Silva. Mitchell will have a big grappling and wrestling advantage here. It's grappler versus striker, guys. Will Mitchell, though, decide to just chain wrestle and grapple and make it ugly for 3 rounds? That's the question, right? You don't really know where his head's at. He did come off that ugly, brutal KO from Emmett. Beat up Gracie for 3 rounds. Right? Mitchell does not want to stand with Silva for 3 rounds. You do not want to do that. He's going to get knocked out, in my opinion, if he does. So it's all going to come down to Bryce Mitchell game plan. Is he going to grapple, wrestle? Or is he going to try to get cute and try to stand? Now, Bryce is striking. Not terrible, but not great. It's very awkward. Defensively, he's poor. Silva could take advantage of that. And now, Silva's takedown defense, don't really look at the stats here. It's high. It's good on paper, but he hasn't fought any wrestlers, guys. Right? We have seen him get taken down in fights before, but we just have not seen him fight a guy like Bryce Mitchell before. And I do believe there is value at plus 200. Am I going to get to it? I'm not in the business of fading the fighting nerds right now. One of the best camps out there right now. Their streak is unbelievable. But there is concerns here with Silva. And at minus 250, when I see minus 250 out there and I have a concern, I can't get there, right? Can't get there. That takedown defense is going to be tested. How good is it? Sure, he's been training a ton, getting ready for this fight. If he's able to, limit the takedowns and not be controlled on the bottom, he could hurt Bryce on the feet. So, lean is Silva, but Bryce is live at this price. It's so tempting, guys. I'm a value guy. I like to bet plus money. It's tempting, but everything has to go right for Bryce. He's going to have to control him on the ground, grapple, wrestle, chain wrestle. We've seen him do it before. He won fights before like that. The other guy was a better striker. He understood, took him down, and grappled. So, it's possible here, guys. right? That Silva hype could be. I don't think he's as good as he's been. Remember, he's beating Jourdain, Dober, and Boris Cesari in his last 3 fights. Not big names, Decent, like Dober's a good win, right? But Dober, I believe, got hurt in that fight, and he had to stop. So this is going to be his toughest test yet. So due to that, there's value on Mitchell plus 200. I wouldn't call you crazy if you guys are taking a shot there. Fun one to open up the main, or Krylov, minus 175 versus Reyes plus 150. Where's Krylov been? I'm hearing that he's been fighting in the war. So, interesting. He hasn't been in the UFC for almost 2 years, guys. And he's a minus 170 favorite. So, sign me up with Reyes at plus 150. Back-to-back wins over decent guys like Jacoby and Smith, both by finish. Now, Smith, end of his career, I don't really take that fight into too much. And Jacoby's just a mid-level guy. Krylov, I have better than both those guys. So that's the one concern first on the Reyes side. But like I mentioned, Krylov, he is on a 3-fight win streak, but not over great guys either, right? Gustafsson, Ozdemir, and Spann. So, resumes are, you can cancel both of them out here. Krylov, like I mentioned, hasn't fought for almost 2 years. Reyes has been just a lot more active, right? I also like Reyes from a stat standpoint, more volume on the feet, and as an 82% takedown defense, I think that's going to play here. Krylov will try to get this fight down to the ground. He is a good wrestler and has a good submission game, but if Reyes could keep us on the feet, I think he wins his fight on the feet. Also with Krylov, he fades later in fights. Right, he's a one-round type of fighter. So, if Reyes can get this in the second or third round, I think big advantage for him. He's just going to have to handle that first round pressure, I believe, from Krylov. We've seen it in multiple fights. Sometimes he goes down right for the takedown. I don't think he's going to have a ton of success with the takedowns, or at least holding Reyes down. Reyes has shown time and time again, if he does get taken down, he gets up right away. And I don't think Krylov can wrestle for 2-3 rounds. Maybe one round, but he can't continue to wrestle and wrestle and wrestle. Again, he's been away for 2 years. So it's kind of difficult to say how he's really going to look and how he's going to come back after that layoff. So, yeah, Reyes plus money, plus 150 or pass in this fight for me. Only way I can look. That will do it, guys. That will do. We got a fun card. Fun card ahead of us. I can't wait for it. Some good prelim fights as well. It'll be a large client card for myself this week. Like I always say, guys, bet smart and know your limits. Enjoy the Miami card.